Hello, my squishies. Okay, this is take 4. I'll be 2 seconds while I figure out my tech issues, but I need to leave this running. So please chat amongst yourselves. Get a cup of tea while I am very quickly figuring out what's going on with the YouTubes. So give me 1 second. Because tea is very important. And I can see everybody waiting, but I can't get onto my own stream. Oh, it says I'm live. And there's one person watching. Right. I see one person. Right, one person's made it. I need to get everybody else from the old stream to this new stream. We can do this. Okay. Share stream. Copy. There we go. Let's pop that in the old chat. For the old. This is very exciting for you guys, I am sure. Me rambling to myself. So how do I get into... Oh, I have to get into my old chat now. One person watching. Right. Hello, person. I see you. Thank you for coming. And to all the people that are watching this after the fact and just laughing at me. Welcome to my streams. Right. So let's go to here. And then I can... Oh, my link is not gone through. Okay. So I've sent people messages. Hopefully they'll come and join me here with you guys. I wonder if I can get rid of this. I can probably actually clip this out. Hopefully. And the only person that is watching just now will see my rambling nonsense. Aha, there's a good idea. There we go. So, how many people? We've still got my dedicated one person. I don't know who you are, but thank you so much for putting up with me rambling nonsense. And fingers crossed we'll get started in a second. Just as soon as... Woohoo! People are here! I have one person here! Okay. Hello, hello! I have people coming in. Da da da! Happy dance! I'm just going to wait until everybody has gone. We've got some more people. Excellent. I can see you all. Well, I technically can't see you. You can see me, but I can't see you. I have, yes, Mum, I have been talking to myself for about 15 minutes now. I did a full intro and it was beautiful. It was the best intro I've ever done, but nobody saw it. And nobody can prove otherwise that it was not the best one I've ever done. So I'm going to have to recreate it, but it's going to be pale in comparison. So I'm just waiting on everybody. I think there's a couple more still to come across. This does say there's 6 people waiting. Yes, Katie, be excited. Because so I'm going to cut this bit out when I upload the proper one anyway. But I thought I was really proud of myself and figured out a way to show the comments on screen and keep the comments, and it was all going to be wonderful, and it hasn't worked, hence why the stream didn't work, and now I'm back to the old way. So I'm going to talk to myself again and no one's going to see the comments. It's fine. Okay, we'll give people another... How many minutes should we give them? 2 minutes? What I'll do is I'll start randomly chatting. I'll do my intro. It will be a pale comparison to the one I did 10 minutes ago. While everybody's moving across. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Technology is wonderful when it works. Okay. Hello, my squishies. Welcome to Friday Night Felt Along. Normally this is the point where I say, we'll wait for people to come online. But I've been online for a while and rambling nonsense, and this is the second, maybe third time I'm doing this now. So, in your kit, if you've never felted before, you should have a foam mat for felting on. This protects your surfaces and makes it easy for felting. You can see mine's being used quite a lot now and it's full of little fluff. You'll also have a bit of fibre here. So this is pre-felt. It's Shetland wool. It's been lightly felted and is brilliant for felting on top of. You can felt on top of anything, any kind of fabric, but this is the best one for it. Yours will have a picture outline that you can follow. I'm just going rogue tonight. You've also got in your kit your needles. Now these are very sharp. Please do not stab yourself. You'll see there's a barbed point at one end and a hook at the other. So you've got about 5 in your kit, because they do sometimes break. If they break, make sure you find both ends, dispose of them safely. But you can hold them like this. I tend to hold them just like this as I was about to say knitting, this is not knitting, as I'm felting. But in your kit you've also got a little needle holder tool. And to use this, there's a wee plug in one end. Just grab that plug out. Take your needle with the hook, pop it in the groove that's on the little plug. With the hook, I've put this backwards, there we go. With the hook, I'm going to do this again, don't worry. The hook over the thin end. And then you pop that thin end back into your tool. Right, let's do that one more time. So, you've got the little plug there. Pull out your plug. Put the needle in the groove, making sure the hook is over the thin end. And then, am I even in focus? Possibly in focus. And then pop it back in there. And as you're stabbing, that's not going to come out there. But I'm, as I said, a little bit rogue. And I like to sometimes use 3 at a time. You can get tools with 3 with 6 in them. but I like to just do it freehand. And then last but not least, the most important bit of your kit is all this fluff and colour. So this is called roving or tops. It's come off the sheep, it's been washed and dyed and brushed, and then it's ready to be felted. And there are a few tips to this, to using this. So it comes in this sort of thing, and we're going to be using most of the time just little amounts. So to take out a little amount, I'm talking sort of like that. All you do is grab one end and just gently pull, and you'll feel it separate. And you can see that's the length of the fibre that was on the sheep. So if you have your hands too close together like this and you try and pull, you're pulling against both ends of the same bit of hair, wool, and it's not going to come apart. And if you've got, I'm giggling to myself already, and if you've got any twist in it, it's not going to come apart either. Because twist is what holds the yarn, the fibres together to make yarn. So you can see, even if you do have your hands far apart and it's twisted, it's not coming apart. So you want to make sure it's nice and flat, and then just gently pull and little bits will come out. There we go. So that's a very brief, I'm going to add to my regularly scheduled introduction, including that remember and always take, so as you're felting, this bit of fibre or fabric will start to get felted onto the mat. So we're going to regularly pull it off. You'll see me do it to make sure it doesn't get too felted in. And so with these videos, except for the live people doing it now, hello everybody, I see you. I'm just going to double check everyone's away from the old stream. Yeah, so with these videos, you can pause them, you can rewind them, fast forward them, and as my wonderful parents in tech support have discovered, you can you can mute me. If you do not want to listen to my ramblings, you can just mute me and watch along. But yeah, so let's get felting. I'm going to have a sip of coffee, and then we're going to make a black house on the Isle of Lewis, even though it's going to be white. Hello from your hotel room, Katie. Yeah, you can stab along in your head and then do it when you get back from your conference. I hope you have a good conference. Okay, so I remembered it this time. I've got dowel. I'm not panicking to find a dowel. There are a couple of ways you can mount your pictures. If you're going to mount it on the dowel, the way I like to do it is like I've done on this puffin, where I've used some fibre and wrapped it round the dowel at the start. So I'll show you briefly how to do that, but for this one I'm going to leave it undoweled, just as a straight picture, because I might frame it or I might do something else with it. I haven't quite decided yet. You don't have to decide at this point, you can decide later as well. But if you're going to pop it on the dowel, what we do is, you've got plenty of this blue. I made sure to give you enough. So if you're doing it this way, I'm going to take it, just spread it out a little bit, place it all the way across. You can see I'm laying it under like this. Pop that all the way across. Pop your dowel on top and then fold it over. And then all you're going to do is you're going to start stabbing, being careful not to hit the wood, and you're going to stab, just up and down like this. This is your first, if you haven't done it before, your first introduction to needle felting. It is literally just stabbing. And so you'd stab all the way along multiple times, and as we do the sky, we'll layer up as well. But what you'll see is that your stab marks are going through to the back, and it's going to lock it all in. So eventually, like you can see on the back here, it's all felted in. So hopefully, you guys, if you're doing it on the dowel, you can do it that way. You don't have to do it all the way across. You can. I sometimes like to do it with just a bit on either side, or you can have multiple ones. It's entirely up to you. But I'm going to take that off for just now because I'm doing it without the dowel. Okay, now we can finally get ready to start actually felting. So we're going to take the blue, the lightest blue that you've got tons of it, and we're going to... Oh! Would you like a sneak peek of... Put a 1 in the chat if you would like a sneak peek. I've been watching too much YouTube of what we're going to have finished tonight. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't want to see and want it to be a surprise. I give you 2 seconds while I start putting some blue down. Oh, we've got 2 already. Okay, there's going to be no sneak peek. For those of you that are doing it afterwards, you'll obviously know what it looks like, so you don't need... Not necessarily. Oh yeah, so I don't think you'll be able to see these chats afterwards, so it does look like I am chatting to myself. I swear there's people watching and chatting to me. Oh, we have a 1 vote for seeing it, so it's a 50-50. I need somebody to even the split or uneven it. What's the word? Mum, do you want to see the finished picture or not? I do answer my own questions sometimes. So next month I think I figured out how to get the chats online, but it just failed at the last hurdle, so I'm going to have another go so that people can see who I'm chatting to. Okay, Katie, shut your eyes for... I'll tell you when you can open them. Okay, shut your eyes now. So this is going to be the finished guy. Well, this is semi-finished, so we're going to do a proper finished one. And my house is a little bit drunk, but we'll figure that one out. Okay, you can open your eyes again. Okay, so we started on the sky. Pop the sky down to the level where matter. Ooh, my screen just flashed. I hope I'm still okay. That was exciting. Fingers crossed. Somebody shout at me if it's not still going. It says I've been live for 15 seconds. Oh no. Somebody say something. It says I've got 5 years. I'm going to continue with all fingers crossed. Anyway. Right, so we've got back on. Okay, excellent. Something. Thank you. It works. I'm not going to knock it. So we've done the light blue all over. And now we're going to start layering up some of this darker blue. So with the darker and fluff everywhere. With the darker blue, I'm going to aim to start lower and then fade it up. So I'm going to put a reasonable amount sort of at this bottom bit. And don't worry about if your line's exact. We'll be covering it over with things and working on top of it. This is just like, so if you see oil painters and things, they're blocking in the colours. And the wonderful thing about felting is if we decide that we don't like we've put where we have, I can't words anymore, that especially at this young, no, right, let's try words again. If you don't like where you've put something at this early stage, you can easily just pull it off and move it. This is why we're not spending too much time felting things down properly yet, so that we've got that freedom. So you can see I'm just opening up little, there we go. So this is putting in some texture. This one we're going to spend a lot of time doing. I'm really into skies at the moment. I don't know why. We're going to spend a lot of time putting in sky texture and clouds and things, because I'm just obsessed with this blue colour. Oh, and I should mention now, so that I do not forget, to finish, I know we're jumping right ahead to the end, but we need to think about it now. When you're finishing off, you've got a few options, like the edges. So you can literally just cut, you can leave them loose and fluffy, or you can fold them in and then felt on top of that. But always make sure that you're going right to the edges just now, and you don't leave any sort of gaps at your edges. Okay. Now I'm going to pop in just, now with the white, you only want a tiny bit to start with, and then we'll build up. So I'm going to aim for clouds to be in the top half of the sky, and I want them to be not too, I want them to be sort of ethereal, is that the right word? Not too solid. So it's not a cloudy day, there's just wisps high up in the atmosphere. And I'm not just going to put yes, exactly. There's so many colours in skies, it's amazing. And we're going to layer up some nice fun colours here. So where I don't like my positioning on my clouds. And the joy with felting is I can just pick it up and move it. I think I want to put one lower and one in the middle there. That's better. You don't want any, you can do whatever you like. This is your painting or felting. You are in control. But I'm trying to make them uneven so it's not odd numbers, she says as she does 4 clouds. I'm going to take, we've got white and we've got cream. You can just about see the difference. I'm going to take the cream and put a little bit of cream on top of the clouds, sort of lower down on each of the cloud, on the bigger ones. Start off some shadows in it. And we can still, I'm still probably going to go over the clouds again with blue, don't ask, I'm crazy. And then I'm going to take a little bit of grey just on the very bottom of the cloud. This isn't, so not much grey at all, just to give it that hint of the shadow underneath. Oh, I can hear can you hear Mr. Manny outside? I can hear Mr. Man doing some building work outside at this time of night on a Friday. Okay, very roughly we have popped in our sky. I don't want to spend too much more time on this, fiddling with it until we've got the bottom in, and then we'll go back to it again and add in more textures and more layers, because we're kind of building it up all at once. And in a second, I'm going to be able to tell you some facts about what we're making, because I did my homework this week and I have a notepad. Be impressed. I don't think I can read my own writing, but I have a notepad with words in it. But before we get too distracted, let's put some more felt on. So we're gonna, you've got your hill going down here, so I'm going to start the hill, and again we're layering up, so I'm going to start with some dark greens going down the edge, and then I'm going to cover that with lighter green on top. We're still going to probably put dark greens over that, but it's all felting is just about the layering. If you want to put your hill higher up, your sea higher up, you feel free to, let's move it up a little bit. Feel free to change the proportions. You are free. And for those of you guys that have felted with me before, and we've done more detailed sort of hills and things, you can also use all those skills that you've learnt to make this hill more detailed. Okay, I've not even felted any of it. I'm still sort of placing it down and choosing places. I'm going to now get our little sea going before I even start felting down. Nobody's chatted in a while. I hope I'm still... I now have like the fear that I'm talking to myself again. I mean, I talk to myself a lot, so that's totally fine. But, so we've got this lovely... Oh, thanks, Mum. We've got this lovely colour here. And I'm going to just put that as a base of my little sandy beach. And then the cream colour, so not the white, but the... You are being very good students, thank you very much. So I'm putting the cream on top there. I know normally I say I work from the top down, but I kind of want the sea to sit on top of the... Yeah. I'm going to quickly give that a wee stab in, because this is a felt along. I have to do some actual felting, don't I? I can't just lay the colours down and hope for the best. So, right, well, no, I'll finish the sea and then I'll tell you my homework that I did. So I'm taking the dark blue and I'm going to lay this. We want this to have a straight top, because that's going to be the horizon line, and generally water is flat. There we go. Going up, so you've got like, it's kind of going away into the distance. Excellent. We're definitely putting more detail in the water and the sky around it and the beach, but okay, let's do one more detail on the beach and then we'll work on this wee area. So taking the white, and if, oh, I didn't include it in your packs at home. No, I'm going to ignore everything I just said. Yep, take the white and just pop it right along that water line. If you have that, I think in most of your packs that I've sent out in the past, you've all got that fluffy white. You can put that there if you want more textural waves. I can do words. Yes, I can. Okay, so while I'm going to do a good felting all over for 2 minutes while I talk about what we're doing, and then we're going to pop our house in. So, while I'm going over all of this, the black houses on the Isle of Lewis have been around, they suspect, for... Oh, and please note, I am not a historian. This is just me Googling and reading Wikipedia, because that is the source of all knowledge. I also read some other places as well. So they've definitely been around, they reckon, for around 1,000 years on Lewis. The surviving ones, none of them date back to more than 150 years, because the original houses that we're going to be putting in here were made of turf. So it was turf walls covered by thatch or some kind of cereal crop, and so they've all just composted and disappeared to nothing. It was only around 150 years ago when they started using bricks for the, or not bricks, stone for the walls, that they've survived. And so these black houses, so the name black house has two, this is where I'm going to consult my notes, has got two possible origins. So in the Gaelic, which Gaelic they'd speak up there, it was Tai Dove, Duv, which means black house, but Tai, which is house, and where's that other word? Tuv, she says, because her Gaelic is terrible, you can read my notes um, means thatched house, but the sounds are very, very similar. So there's a debate whether it's just a mistranslation of thatched house rather than black house, because some of the black houses were white. But then, there's more. There's now white houses on Lewis, which are much more modern, and they're called white houses because they're not traditional black houses. Makes perfect sense. It really doesn't. Anyway, so where was I in my rambling stabbing? It's 150 years old. I think it meant thatched. The construction of these are really interesting. So they're double walled and have with earth in the centre and a thatched roof. As in the traditional ones, so the older ones, there's no chimney stack or chimney. The smoke would just go right up into the rafters, and apparently the roof would be changed every year because people thought that the smoke was a good fertilizer to go on the soil. So that's another reason why it might be black as in the colour, because the roofs would be blackened by the smoke every year that's coming out of the fire in the centre. So that's the two possible routes of black house. Okay, before I tell you any more interesting facts, let's start. For some reason I'm too scared to put the house in. I want to fiddle with the sky more. Let's fiddle with the sky a little bit more. And then I'm just teasing you guys, and then we'll put the house in. So I'm going to take some of the middly blue and kind of blur the edge between the sky and the water. So it's one of those days where there's like high clouds and the sort of the sea goes away into the horizon. I'm going to pop in a little more white, a little less than that. Nope. Light blue. Oh, did you? So Katie's just said that she visited one of the black houses. Nice. So if you've got photos, you can recreate the one that you visited. Let's get a bit more of this. Love this colour. No, I'm just putting it off. Let's pop the house in. Stop being silly. Okay, so the black houses can be either made of stone or they're made of stone, but some have been painted where they've been whitewashed. But they're still a black house because that's the construction. They tend to be quite long and squat because, you know, that's a lot of weight to be held down. And the walls are slightly wider than the roof, so that you had like a lip around the outside so that when you were changing the thatch it was a lot easier. But that's difficult to do in felt. So we're just gonna I'm doing it white because it looks really cute. And I'm also going to put a chimney on mine. You don't have to put a chimney on yours if you don't want to. But this little space here, I'm going to measure. So I measure in fingers because, you know, or maybe needle lengths. So about half a needle length we're aiming for. So I'm going to take some of the white, fold it, and then lay my little house. I want him to be on an angle. You can do yours straight or on an angle. So similar to a longhouse, and they reckon, because my extensive research that I did for 5 minutes today, that these are also related to like the Skara Brae houses and all the old longhouses like that. And they would I think in longhouses they do the same, where one end's for cattle or animals and the other end's for living. but they'd share one doorway and then split off the animals one way and the humans the other way. So I've got my little house starting to go that way, but he also needs to go horizontal. Another interesting thing about the white houses, black houses. I'm saying white because I'm literally I'm doing a white black house. Ah! You can do yours in the dark colour if you want to. Where was I going? Somewhere. Oh, so they would build one, and then because they're clever, they'd sometimes build a second one sharing an internal wall and just stack them up in a line, so you've got less wall to build. Genius. So I'm making kind of like a boot shape, the technical term. So it's going that way and that way. So we're going to see a back wall. I'm going to start to put some roof in as well. So I'm going to take and then lay that along in the direction. Now, I haven't said this yet, but the felting process is, it goes from fluff to, oh my, it's such a mess, why on earth am I doing this, to, oh my god, it looks fine. At the moment, your house will look like a mess. Do not worry. The more we fiddle and play, the better it'll be. But at the moment, it's going to look like a mess, and people are going to go, what on earth is that on your thing? Don't worry. So we're aiming for like quite a big roof they have. And some of them, the little houses on Skye especially, probably Lewis as well, they'll actually have netting over, because it's quite windy, they'll have netting over the roof and little rocks all the way along to stop the roof blowing off. Though that didn't save it one day in a storm when I lived on Skye and my neighbour's roof blew off and there was just straw or thatch all over the road and everywhere, which was interesting and exciting. Okay, so I am going to do 2 chimneys, one at either end, because I'm imagining that this house is in modern times and has been slightly modernised, isn't quite traditional, but you don't have to do that. You can leave the chimneys out, you can leave it like this. So to make a chimney, they're also going to be painted white, so I'm going to pop one dot at that side, and I'm going to have a chimney stack coming up the centre of there. So I've got roof behind it and it goes into the white wall there. Does that make sense? Am I going too fast? If I'm going too fast and you're not watching this live, you can rewind and do it again, or you can pause me or slow me down. There is speed commands, although I don't think I'd want to hear my voice slowed down. Oh no, that would be bad. Anyway, so we've got the shape. It's looking so cute. We've got the sort of basic shape of a little house, but it's kind of, and there's also no windows and doors yet. We'll do that in a minute. But at the moment, there's one thing I need to rectify. It's kind of sitting on, it's floating. It's not really sitting in the landscape. So we're going to need to pop some shadows in. Oh, and I have a confession to make. I need to drink my coffee first before I confess. So I sent off all the kits to my wonderful regular subscribers with enough of all of the colours that we needed for the thing. But I forgot to save one for myself. And I can't remember how many greens I gave you guys. So I'm only using 2 greens here, because I definitely put those 2 greens in your kits. If I put more greens in than the 2 I'm using, please use more of the greens. The kits that go out will have more greens in them. Oh dear, how did I make it this far? So I'm going to take the darkest green and I'm going to do a little shadow around the house. So just, and we're going to go over it and fade it in and things like that so it's not quite so harsh, but we're starting to layer up a little shadow on the house. And if you imagine the sun is coming sort of straight down, I would say, so don't go too far from the house. So it's just like the lush grass around the house where it's being looked after by the inhabitants. I'm also going to do a little path that goes down just in, oh, pardon me, little path that goes down just in the darker green. Or maybe, oh, I might put some darker colours in. Give it a little wiggle and let it go down to the beach. And that's where our front door is going to be. So it looks like someone regularly, imagine that lifestyle. Just wandering down the beach from your little cute cottage. Oh my, yes. I'm going to put a little bit of the darker green in the distance to give it a sense of depth. But don't go too dark. Okay, how's everybody's doing so far? We're still definitely at the sort of loose and fluffy stage. Where I want to do lots more. my horizon line's a bit drunk, but it's starting to look good. It's starting to look like a tiny house. Although I'm really tempted to move my house back by about an inch. This is the joy of felting. I'm just going to pull it off and move it back to there. And then step it down again. Move my shadow. That's better. Yep, that's a lot better. I might need to move my chimney stack. I got left behind in the move. Ooh, which is another interesting fact. So, I've probably said this before. Have I said this before? Who knows? So you see a lot of derelict, again, going back to how they would change up their roof every year, or like put a new layer of thatch down every year. A lot of the tenant farmers that you would see in the Highlands, when they'd move into their tenancy, into their house, they would be given the house with just walls, and you were expected, because it was a thatched roof, to provide your own roof and to maintain the roof yourself. It was not the estate owner's prerogative. That's not the right word. It was not the estate owner's problem, was the roof. Which is why you see so many, or one of the reasons, that so many of the abandoned houses and abandoned wee croft houses around Scotland don't have roofs, because the last outgoing tenant would probably take their roof with them and go on to their new tenancy. And if a new tenant wouldn't go in, they wouldn't get a new roof. Do I have any? Oh, that's much better, that position. Although now my path goes into the wrong. Does it? They can walk along. What other interesting facts do I have? In other places, the black houses are sort of similar to button ben houses, which is, again, it'd be, I think it's called button ben because one would be animals and one would be the humans. Nope, I've said all of my interesting facts. That's it. I'm out of facts. Does anybody have any interesting facts they would like to share with the group? Anybody who, say, has visited one recently this year? Okay, let's be brave. Let's put... I think his roof is a little bit too low. But your house does not have to look like mine. And remember, so these houses were built rough and, like, reasonably rough. They were skilled carpenters, still skilled stonemasons and people, but they were definitely not identical or made to measure. So they will all be different. They'll all have their quirks. So your house is allowed to have its quirks. It's not going to look the same. And if your house is slightly wonky on one side, then I would claim that the house you're basing it on was slightly wonky on one side, so you've done it perfectly. I'm sticking to that. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of black, squiggle it up, and pop it down. So this is a tiny, tiny bit of black. Pop it down in the center. There. I'm going to try and have it so that wall, I'm imagining that wall is up and down. So I'm going to try and keep it up and down as well. So it's going to be, there we go. That's our little door. And then I'm going to pop 2 windows in. Again, taking tiny, tiny bits of black. Now the windows would be really small in these houses because glass was expensive. Hard to make large, and I mean, I imagine I'm now officially making this up, but like 150 years ago it wouldn't necessarily even have glass in it. So tiny windows is what you're going for. Now, I'm not happy with my chimney. Oh, that's awesome, Robin. Yes, right, I'm going to have to read that out because I can't put it on the screen. Hold on. Also, I'm terrible at reading aloud. So, Robin has said, am I allowed to share this? I don't want to... I mean, you're posting it in the comments, so hopefully I'm allowed to share this. I'm going to wait for you to respond. Before you say yes, I'm going to read out Katie's, who, when she visited... I really wish I'd fixed these comments, damn. The smell of the peat smoke in these houses is just delicious. And it kind of stays with you afterwards as well, because it's just ingrained. Oh, excellent. So Robin said that she's Indigenous. I hope I pronounced that right. But unlike many other First Nations, they didn't use teepees. The comments are moving. Stop moving comments. They used wickiups, which were made of stones, branches and leaves, and so could just pick up and go and not have to worry about it. Perfect! That's genius. Yes. Ah, yes. Up sticks and leaves. Awesome. Thank you very much. We are all learning tonight. Oh my... Oh no, I think I'm happy with that. I want to put a little bit more roof there. I've gone quiet now. I've run out of interesting facts. I'm now just imagining living in this house. Okay. Right, what have we still got to do? So from your camera angle, my roof looks wonky. But from my angle... Ooh! There's a good point. Oh! Yes, I agree. The smell of peat and horses. My lovely, lovely parents put up with me horse riding for a lot as a kid. Thank you so much. And it's just, yeah, the smell of horses stays with you. I had an ooh that I was about to share. Ooh, yes. So tonight, we've blocked in all of everything that, I'm very distracted now. All of the everything that we're going to have in the picture, but this is not a finished picture yet. So what I always recommend that we do is go back, stop for tonight after an hour or so, go back in a day or two and have another look at it, because you might not be completely happy with it just now, but that's because you've been staring at it for too long and you can't see it. So you need to come back with fresh eyes. Or what I like to do sometimes is take a photograph of it, because you'll see it differently with a photograph. And even if you do what I do and send the photograph to my parents and go, what have I done wrong with this? I should start, no, I'm not, I was going to say I should start putting it in the Facebook, but then you'd know what I'm doing each month and it would ruin the surprise. But I'm going to spend maybe another 10 minutes just felting all over this, and then I think I'm going to call it a night and come back to it in a day or two to finish it off, give it a really good felt, and just until I'm happy with it. So if you want it to be loose and fluffy and you're going to put it in a frame, that's fine, or you can give it a good, so maybe 20 minutes just stabbing. So I'm going to do it for the next minute or two, just stabbing all over, and you'll see as you stab all over like this, it all just starts to come together. Ooh, I also have a question for you guys. I'm thinking next month about maybe doing a different shape. How do you feel? Or do you like the sort of square format? Would you object if I went a bit off-piste? And if anybody's got anything they want felt, any picture ideas they really want to do, give me a shout in the Facebook group. Yes, Katie. All shapes and subjects. That is brilliant. There we go. So you'll see every time I pull it off, I kind of give it a smoosh, because that sort of that can get rid of any sort of areas that are a bit sort of needle marky. It lets you see how it's going to look. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to stay on and felt for a bit longer because we were late starting because of my wonderful technical issues. Oh, but if you're watching this after the fact, you might not know about my technical issues. Let's pop in some more sky colours, shall we? I'm going to take some of this dark blue and lay it on top as well. Although I now have a question, Robin, what time is it where you are and where are you, if you don't mind sharing? Because it's 6 o'clock. Well, now it's 7 o'clock for us over here. But I know I've normally got a Canadian viewer, although I don't know if she's not commented tonight. The layers. There's a party going on outside. Ooh, and I'm going to have another secret stream coming up very soon because technical issues. I don't know who was with me when we did the puffin, but the puffin video has never. We did it off my phone in the end because of technical issues. I need to redo it properly on this camera. So I'm going to do a secret puffin felt along. If anybody wishes to join me, I was thinking about doing it straight after this, although my brain in the last half hour or last 10 minutes has suddenly gone blip 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 and disappeared. So I'm thinking maybe next Friday to do a puffin. Yes, do dramatic sky. You can even put in like the hints of pinks or peaches or reds or... Ooh! Oh, yes. There we go. Hold on. I'm going to take a tiny bit of the sandy colour, the darker sand, and pop it... Maybe not. Yeah, so just a tiny bit there on the bottom. But yeah, go dramatic with the sky. Because you can add in... You could go really heavy and have heavy grey clouds. Or if you want like a stormy, overcast day, you can add in lots of the blue. Oh. But yeah, you know when you get those days, the clouds have just gone pink as the sun's about to set. think I want to put some more clouds higher up. Comparing it to my other one, that's definitely got more clouds. It's also more definition. The hill's higher, that's what it is. Let's pop that hill up. Look at this. You can just move it and shift it. I love it. There we go. Got a bit more of a hill there. With a little donk there. Perfect. Bit more interest. Excellent. Ooh, that's the other thing. I need a bit more. See, Robin, have fun. If you're on the Facebook group, or if you don't follow the Facebook group, I'm going to do a secret stream probably next Friday, but I'll post about it there because it is lovely having you with us. I realised I shouted and waved as I was saying goodbye. I do not need to do that. The mic has not moved. Okay, so I'm now just stabbing all over. I'm going to be stabbing all over for a while. I've run out of interesting facts, although I hope you enjoyed my interesting facts, and I hope they are true. I hope that one day you guys can visit a house. If your house is wonky, remember you used a wonky the house that you're basing it on was wonky. That's my lesson for life. I meant to do it that way. I think I've covered everything. I'm definitely going to roll in all these edges, and once I've rolled them in, just so do a little bit at a time and felt it, and it'll stay rolled in because you're felting it together, and you get a nice neat, well, not neat, they tend to be wonky and bowy, but that's part of the felting look. So yeah, congratulations. I am sure you all got amazing, or will have amazing little black houses. I hope you enjoyed my rambling. I'm gonna have to go back and fix all the technical mistakes now, but thank you guys, and I will see you all soon. Thank you, my squish. I'm waving at the camera and you can't even see. Thank you, my squishies.